Today, we are breaking down PFF's brand new 2025 NFL mock draft. Let's jump right into this. I was in the mood to complain and nag and analyze, so I'm sorry about the quantity of mock the mocks. It does help out a little bit with some of the other awesome episodes that are going to be coming very soon, and this is also a foreshadow for what Saturday's episode is going to be about. But at number one overall, Tennessee Titans go Cam Ward. Of course, if you guys are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. We're going at a great rate, and it's so good to see that, but Titans going Cam Ward, it makes sense. It's kind of the lock pick. I've said it a billion times. The contracts, everything, it lines up with the Titans going Cam Ward. I just can't really see another solution happening based on the moves that they've made this offseason. At number two, the Browns go Abdul Carter. Like right now, this is kind of the solidified top two. The edge rusher is extremely valuable. You're paying $40 million to one dude. If you can end up getting someone who is nearly as productive at a much cheaper rate, makes a lot of sense for roster reconstruction, especially based on the fact that the Browns are not necessarily known to be the best in terms of managing their cap. Shout out to Deshaun Watson, but it's the right move. It's the best thing you can do. At number three, the Giants go Shedeur Sanders. I just personally don't think that they're going to go after Shedeur at number three. The aggressiveness that the Giants have had towards free agency and, free agent quarterbacks as well as potentially even trading for Matt Stafford, it just seemed like they were desperate to get something outside of Shedeur. And if you're taking a quarterback at three, you're not going to be desperate to where you sign two guys. If they sign like Russell Wilson, they sign Jameis Winston, like they sign one of them, fine. I just personally don't think that you would end up going and signing both of them. I know they're not expensive contracts, but it's not like money is just fake, right? Like they're still spending a ton of, I know it's only $14 million in 2024, but it's still a noticeable amount, right? You're not just putting these guys to be depth options. Both of them want a chance to start. Shedeur Sanders at number three, you would not be, in my opinion, pursuing free agency so aggressively if he was your locked guy. Patriots then go Travis Hunter at number four. I really do want to see some more mocks where Travis goes at number three to the Giants or a team trades up to number three. I really, really hope that we can see some more of those because I just feel like, maybe it's going to be something that they do at the end of one by a trade up, but I just don't really see it. Regardless, continuing on, the Jaguars go Mason Graham. It feels almost like a lock at this point, which is a very dangerous place to be, but the top five seems pretty damn solidified. And of course, you got Aaron Donald, Braden Fisk, a lot of defensive interior legacy there. I mean, Kobe Turner as well in Los Angeles for Gladstone. So I definitely think that's certainly possible that that's the move they go. The Raiders go T-Mac to Jerome McMillan at number six. There's some rumors that, I haven't confirmed this, and it's not rumors. Apparently, it's out there, and he said it live. But Ted doesn't watch film outside of when he has to. I've heard that from a lot of players, and to be honest, I have mixed opinion about that. I personally would love for my players to be obsessed with the game of football, especially if you're going to Pete Carroll. I feel like he's going to care about whether you're obsessed, but there's a certain point where you don't want football to feel like solely a job. You don't want to ruin it. So it's similar to Carson Beck saying I don't watch that many games because I'll start overanalyzing it. I think we need to take what Tet said with a grain of salt because I personally don't like to watch football too much outside of when I'm actually doing tape evaluations because to be fair, I do it all the time, but outside of my Steelers, I start getting way too into it. And to the point where you start losing a little bit of the fun of the game because I want to do analysis over actual enjoyment. So, I would say I can empathize with T-Mac there. Sometimes you just don't really need to dive into the film. And sometimes you just want to, you could be a Superman all you want. Sometimes you just want to take the cape off and be Clark Kent. That's what I'm trying to say. Number seven, the Jets go Tyler Warren. I don't know if Aaron Glenn's going to value tight end to that degree, but Tyler Warren is just super duper reliable. It's a great safety valve. Tight end's definitely a position the Jets should go after, but personally, I go after Ferguson in the third. And I love Tyler Warren, so keep that in mind. Niners trade up to draft Armand Membu. Actually makes a lot of sense because I do believe that the Saints, I personally think the Jets should have taken Membu, but if he does slip to this spot, I think the Saints are a perfect spot for Membu to go. So, it makes a lot of sense for the Niners based on the mobility that they value and the physicality. It honestly makes a lot of sense because you can put him at guard in the short run as well because you don't really have a legit starting tackle spot that you need to fill at the same rate that you could allow Armand Membu to get those instant snaps as he's continuing to progress. Again, I wouldn't mind if you start him at right tackle. I think that'd be a smart move. But I'm saying there's no situation, there's no outcome where Armand Membu's not starting. And that's a great place to be. And also, you have that future upside. Number 9, the Saints go Will Campbell, bringing him in, I believe, for a top 30. But, I have my reservations on Will Campbell, but I still think that this is an understandable spot for him. The Saints are far from complete, and Tali Fuaga is a right tackle. He ended up being able to transition to left better than I thought. But, I still think that not a bad idea to continue investing in the offensive line. Bears go Ashton Jeanty at 10. This is a team that I do think has the ability to make a legitimate push for a Super Bowl. And so I think it's actually a very smart move. At number 11, via that trade back, the Panthers go Jalen Walker. Honestly, I might start implementing this if I do have like Membu slip. Definitely think that might be something I could see happening. The Panthers, I think, would be very smart to do something like this, to get the same player, and they end up getting, pick number 100 on top of that, another 3rd round pick, just to move back and get the same dude. Cowboys go Jahad Campbell at 12. I think they've addressed the linebacker position enough. I don't necessarily believe that this would be the right move, even though I've changed my stance on Amari and Hampton for the Cowboys. It's true. I think Amari and Hampton might be the best impact on the roster, but is that impact going to be worth it for both parties, right? Are the Cowboys needing that boost in their roster to compete for a Super Bowl, or are you going to vault them to the point of mediocrity where you are devaluing all their draft capital, essentially, by having somebody who elevates the roster to something competitive, but not competitive enough? As good as Amari and Hampton is, I don't think he puts them over the finish line. And so maybe there is going to be a need for another wide receiver in here, or, maybe they could even look at that edge position for the long run. Jahad Campbell could be that, but linebacker, probably not the way I'd go. Tackle is actually a spot I could go for the Cowboys, but the Dolphins end up going with it instead. It'd be intriguing to see where they would end up putting him, but they're talking about, potentially putting Kelvin Banks to left guard. I just don't think Greer values left guard like that. He paid $8 million a year to the right guard. I don't know if he'd spend a 1st-round pick on the left. Number 14, the Colts go Colston Loveland. Tight end just seems to be the easy fit. I would not necessarily believe that the Colts should go after Loveland. I'd rather have a more blocking-centric tight end. But, receiving-wise, he's very, very solid. I just don't think this team needs more receivers. I think they need someone to be a safety valve. And, that's what Colston Loveland could not really provide, in my opinion, but he could provide a weapon for a team that's looking for firepower. Then we have the Falcons going Nick Eamon-Warry at 15. I highly doubt that they'd go that over Malachi Starks, but, I have him listed as a demigod for a reason. Not many guys are built like that and have the zone processing that he does. His work against the run is pretty damn atrocious, I must admit. But in open field, one of the best tacklers in the class, which is, I don't understand how that ends up coming to fruition. But Nick Eamon-Warry, I do think he's getting underrated at this point. A lot of guys I respect don't like him, and maybe that's something for me to do some self-reflection. Maybe it ends up coming out that maybe I'm right about this, but something I will just say is I'll always be honest with my takes. My board is below my face. It's not predictive. It's those are the players that I love in the order that I love them. But if I'm wrong about Nick Eamon-Warry, this all it does is give me more fuel to be able to understand why I am not valuing him properly and why I should have valued Malachi Starks at a higher grade. Maybe it's not the fact that maybe it's not the fact that I graded them incorrectly. Maybe it's just the weights that I ended up doing incorrectly. But I digress. The Falcons, I don't think Eamon-Warry would be the better choice between the two for Atlanta. Cardinals go Jahdae Barron. Just another small corner, just doesn't really add up to something that I think would work out in the long run for me. I'd prefer to be looking at guys like Will Johnson in that aspect. The Bengals go Shamar Stewart at 17. Doesn't really fit, in my opinion, what Al Golden has had and utilized properly. I think that, honestly, the other project in Mykel Williams fits a lot better. At number 18, the Seattle Seahawks go Mykel Williams. And, since honestly, D-Law kind of gives me more reason to think that they could go after Shamar Stewart. I'll just put that out there. But the Seahawks going after an edge, I think they have just so many issues, and there are some incredible players. Honestly, Will Johnson would make a ton of sense, in my opinion. Like, a true boundary, heavy boundary corner, too. And, like, obviously, you have your nickel solved, and then Reek on the boundary as well. Like, I just think that would be an even better solution if it came down to this. But number 19, the Bills trade up for Will Johnson. Even though you guys ended up just signing Christian Benford, I still think that you guys could get another alpha on the boundary. Smart move there. Broncos go Amari and Hampton. I think it's a smart move at 20. Again, it's not like you're devaluing like your picks. Like, you're already at 20. Even if you get like marginally better, you get to 22, 23, 24. You're not getting noticeably worse. With the Cowboys, you might end up vaulting from 12 to 20, right? And that's not getting you to the Super Bowl. For the Broncos, if you're at 24, you are still in contention for a Super Bowl, right? So think about it that way. That's what I was trying to say. Steelers go Malachi Starks. I don't agree with this. I think that even though you have PFF coverage grades below 65, I think that our defensive coordinator is primarily to blame for that, not the players. I think both Fitz, Minka, as well as Deshaun are excellent players. I don't see safety with the myriad of other positions, I think, or players that we can go at this spot. I don't think Malachi Starks fits the bill as much as I love him. 22, the Chargers go Mike Green. Edge rusher's a big thing for him. Hopefully off the field checks out. We'll see. The NFL PIs are far better than anything that we could ever do on our own. Right now, I had my fun, air quotes fun. It's not actually fun. I'm being facetious on that. Talking about what has happened. I'm just going to let it be like in retrospect rather than in, prospect. Number 23, we have the Packers going Donovan Izaraku. I love sending him back to Hafley. It's awesome, even though technically he did better without him, but Izaraku ended up doing so well this year. I could totally see the Packers continue to upgrade on that edge core. At number 24, the Seattle Seahawks trade up with the Vikings, sending a third-round pick and a 2026 third in that move up. Just like Gray Zabel, I like the idea of being aggressive for offensive line, but interior offensive line without the upside of being a tackle, that's what concerns me. If this were Josh Simmons to play him at guard in the short run, right tackle the long, maybe I'd be a little more open to it. But I love Gray Zabel. You guys see how much I love Gray Zabel. It's just I don't know if this is the right move for the Seahawks. Even though they are going to more of a wide zone system, I think personally that their interior offensive line, as crap as it's been, is suited a lot more for that than a gap scheme. So fingers crossed that it ends up improving, but Gray Zabel is a good fit. It's just like, man, 2/3 to move up for like it is a little tough for me to justify even over a player who I have top 10. Texans go Matt Golden. As long as they continue upgrading the defense or the offensive line as the draft progresses, it makes sense. The wide receiver corps have been eviscerated. Matt Golden loves Texas. He's been in Houston and at UT. It makes sense to keep him there. The Bears then end up going Kenneth Grant. Of course, you're returning him back to Houston too. Bears traded up for Kenneth Grant. It's a good pickup. Again, like they end up getting a 4th-round pick, I believe, in return. End up giving up a 3rd-round pick. Honestly, it's pretty damn good value in a move up. I do not think that the Rams would accept that. But if they did, the Bears would be smart with that. The Rams end up getting a big move up there. Ravens go Tyler Booker at 27. Going best player available is never a bad idea. And especially with, like, honestly, I think that with Derrick Henry, Tyler Booker can end up being a true asset on that line. You're not necessarily going to be using him primarily for Lamar Jackson's running game, but I do think for Derrick Henry's, it is very, very beneficial. The Lions go James Pierce Jr. I think that he's a very good player. He was my number 2 player for a long time. Even adjusted for his potential concern and personality, he is still a top 15 player on my board. So, makes sense. Titans end up trading up for Luther Burden. I don't think you'll need to trade up for him, but the Commanders need picks, and the Titans end up sniping Luther Burden here. They do need some receiving help. At number 30, the Buccaneers end up trading up, or they did the trade back, ended up picking up a 2nd-round pick and select Trey Amos. I like that. Personally, I really like that. Big physical corner. The Buccaneers need to continue developing that secondary as well. I personally think that Amos would be a good step there while adding some extra picks down the line. Chiefs go Walter Nolan at 31. Excellent value. I mean, it's a team that definitely could use that upgrade on the defensive interior. And of course, it's a great spot for Nolan to grow and mature. Leaving the Eagles at 32 to select Derek Harmon. And he's young. He's done a great job. Went to a new system and did even better than Michigan State. The Eagles need defensive interior, and he has great measurables. I could totally see this working out. I'm a little bit less optimistic about Derek, even though he was a my guy coming into the year, for Christ's sake. But, you know, it is what it is. He's a good player. I think he'd end up working out. I don't know if I'd take him at 32 for the Eagles, but if it did happen, I'd be like, you know what? Let's see how the rest of the draft pans out. I think this will end up being a non-factor to me. It'll be a very good pick. So that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. And trust me, it's not just going to be a whole bunch of mock the mocks over the next couple weeks. You guys have been great in supporting me. Thank you so much. See you on the far side. Peace.